morning, or depending on when you're watching this, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. My name's Ross, and as always, told out of Voice of Radio. So today we need to take a look at, well, the singles from Battle Partners. What is going to be Journey Together over here is Battle Partners over in Japan. And to put it bluntly, the prices are really coming down. And look, we all know that the prices on release are always way too high. And they do tend to crash down over time, don't get me wrong. But oh my word, this set is crashing down even faster than we generally would expect. We've seen some huge drops already. And we're going to start off from the top here, because of course the higher up you are, the further they've got to fall. But I'm telling you right now, if you bought Battle Partners on release, oh, you might have overpaid just a bit. Take Lily's Clefairy. Now, the interesting thing about Lily's Clefairy was, when I showed it to you last time, it was 80,000 yen. Now, 80,000 yen is kind of an important number because it put it as the number one card in the entirety of the Scarlet and Violet era, above even the Umbreon from Terastal Festival, which is sitting around like 53,000 yen. It was miles above that. It wasn't just the number one card in the Scarlet and Violet era. It was the number one card in the Scarlet and Violet era by a bit of a margin. Well, it's not anymore. Now it's 52,000 yen. It's basically tied with Umbreon. Now, don't get me wrong. This is not me saying, this card's worth nothing anymore. Don't even worry about it. No. Still a huge card. Still a gigantic card. Still, you could look at it as a joint number one card in the Scarlet and Violet era with Umbreon. You could look at it as a number two behind Umbreon, but tantalizingly close. Doesn't really matter if I'm honest with you. Either way, huge card. But it's not like it was. And that's kind of my point here. It was the biggest card in the Scarlet and Violet era by a mile. Now it's sitting there at 52,000 yen. And like I say, 52,000 yen, not to be sniffed at. 52,000 yen, you're still talking, like I say, join with the Umbreon here. You're buying this in Japan, you're probably paying around about $337. That's what it converts to right now. $336.99 if you want to be a pedant. Still a fantastically expensive card. But we're talking about the drop here. It has dropped by 28,000 yen. Which, if you want it as a percentage, that's a 35%. Exactly a 35% drop. In the space of a couple of weeks. That is huge, ladies and gentlemen. That is huge. And we expect a drop, don't get me wrong. But that's big. Even compared to what we would be expecting, that's big. But maybe it's just Clefairy. Maybe Clefairy's a bit weird. Why don't we look at the second biggest card in the set? That is the Iono's Bellabol. Now, last time I told you about this one, it was 45,000 yen, which was, again, a pretty important number because it put it a fair bit higher than Pikachu. Pikachu's rocking like 38,000 yen. So this coming in at 45 basically was just saying this is the second biggest card in the Scarlet and Violet era, or I suppose it's above what was the second biggest before the set. Umbreon is still there, obviously, but my point is, before this set came out, it was Umbreon Pikachu, and we had Lily beating Umbreon and Bellabol beating Pikachu. Yeah, it's not beating Pikachu anymore. Sorry. Now, don't get me wrong, it's still an expensive card. It's rocking at 27,000 yen, but Pikachu's still up there at like 38. So this has gone from a fair bit above to significantly below. Quite a bit below. We've seen an 18,000 yen slide, which if you want that as a percentage of the original 45, is exactly a 40% drop. We're not talking about little drops here. We all know that singles go up way more than they should be on release because of the whole fear of missing out malarkey, and then drop fairly significantly. None of that is new or novel. The reason I'm talking about this today is not because they've dropped. Maybe we would have been talking if they've just dropped a little bit. But it's because they have dropped significantly. They are huge drops. And that is what I find particularly interesting here. We're not talking about, oh, they've gone down a little bit. No. We are talking about gigantic drops. So the first two have seen huge drops. What about the rest? Oh, actually, quick little side note while we're here. Obviously, we do have that End Zoroark, the weird one, which is the misprint, which is basically gold End Zoroark printed on top of special illustration rare Zoroark. It's gigantic. That's not coming down anytime soon. So when I talk about the prices crashing, I'm not including the we don't know how rare it is, but it seems incredibly rare error card for pretty obvious reasons. I'm talking about the rest of the set. So when we talked before, the number 3 card in the set was the special illustration rare Zoroark. It was 26,000 yen, very, very, very expensive. Now it's gone down to 15,000 yen. That is an 11k drop. We're not talking about a 50% drop, but we are talking about a 42% drop. That's actually bigger than the other two we've seen so far. And it's not because people don't like N or don't like Zoroark or don't like the art or any of that. It's not setting the world on fire competitively, but it's a viable deck. No. All of this is good stuff. It's just as time goes by, the prices of these do tend to go down. And that is exactly what is happening here. No more, no less. How about Bellabolt? Bellabolt has dropped by more than 50%. This is the gold Bellabolt we're talking about here. And just for the record, I hope these keep dropping. I adore these gold cards. I think these gold cards are absolutely stunning. I'm a huge fan of these gold cards. And the fact they've got the trainer on and the trainer, they just look amazing. Well, last time I talked to you about it, we were talking about a 17,000 yen card. It's actually gone up while I've been talking. It's now a 7,500 yen card. It's about 7.5k. So we've seen a drop of 9,500. It is 9,500 less than it was, which you already know is more than 50% because what we've lost is more than what remains. But if we take that as a percentage of the original 17,000 yen, we're talking about 56%. We have seen a 56% drop. As a fun little side note, everything I've told you so far, all the numbers have been going up. That is not, unfortunately, going to hold here. Sorry about that. Because if we have a look at the gold Zoroark, for instance, the gold Zoroark, well, last time I showed you it was an 8,000 yen card. But have a look at the gold Zoroark now. It's a 5,000 yen card. Cool. It's actually a fairly reasonably priced card. But it's only dropped from like 8 down to 5, so you're only talking about a 38% drop. Which, to be fair, is still quite a bit, isn't it? If we're honest. Honestly, what's happened with the gold cards are they've gone down to a sensible price. Just Bellabolt was more inflated initially, so it had further to fall, whereas the Zoroark only had to fall a little bit. And then as we go through the rest of the cards, we're going to see little drops here and there. One of the things that makes me very happy with this set, we've got illustration rares like End Zoroark and Lily's Rabombi. They're both rocking about 1,500 yen. End Zoroark is probably nearer 1,800, but there or thereabouts. And this is very good for me because I want to collect all the illustration rares. And frankly, last time, they were all a bit silly. And don't get me wrong, there's still a bunch of these that are around 1,000 yen, whereas usually you'd get 1 or 2 in a set. But they are at least a lot more reasonable. Trying to buy all the illustration rares on release would have been a real pain. That's not the case anymore. If you want a few other examples, the Zacian Special Illustration Rare, that has dropped from 7,500 to 5,000 yen. So honestly, you can do that one in your head. It's 33%. It is exactly 1/3 by which it has fallen. Still a very cool card, just, by far the one people want the least. And the Salamence Special Illustration Rare has gone down from 7 to 4.5, which is again a 2,500 yen drop. But because it was a little bit smaller initially, that gives us a slightly higher percentage. It means that we're actually rocking here about 36%. And I'm not going to go through every card in the set because I don't think we need to. I'm going to give you two more. I'm going to give you two more because these are pretty stark. The Full Art Clefairy has gone from 6.5 down to 3.2. So it's dropped by 3.3, which some of you are already going to have noticed is just a smidge over 50%. It comes out, it rounds to 51%. And then the Full Art Iris's Fighting Spirit has dropped from 5 to 2.4, which means a 2.6 drop from the original 5 gives us exactly a 52% drop. They've gone to less than half of what they were before. Interestingly enough, of all the cards we're looking at here, the one that's dropped the least is actually the box topper Wattrel. It's gone down from 3.3 to 3. So you're talking about 9% here, which is very little. But that's pretty easily explained because that was a box topper. We're all expecting more battle partners to come. We all know Pokemon are going to print more battle partners, so the price of these cards is going to drop over time. The thing is, when that comes out, we're not convinced there's going to be more Wattrel promos. So that one, the price of the promo is still more than half of the price of a box. And it's just the box topper. But we're all pretty sure that that's not coming back. We all expect the cards to come back, but not the box topper. And that means that this Wattrel probably isn't going to go down all that much. 3K is probably about right. Even compared to most sets, the drop we're seeing here with battle partners is a very stark, impressive drop. It is absolutely crashing, and you know what? It's probably going to keep going down for a while yet. So there we go. That's what you need to know. And now it's over to you guys. Tell me what you think about this all in the comment section. Go nuts! Be nice! And then make sure you like this video, subscribe to this channel, follow me on Twitter at TheWasi. That's where we talk about Pokemon and a whole bunch of other card games. And please do consider checking out patreon.com/PTCG Radio, where you can support the channel, get some bonus podcasts and all kinds of fun things. And get shoutouts on the channel like the lovely Sammy Ozturk, who's been a supporter of ours for a while now and is a very lovely person. So shout out to them for the support and the loveliness. But by far the most important thing as always, look after yourselves till next time, would ya? Thank you very much for watching. My name's Ross, and you've been watching PTCG Radio.